You're 7 years old and you don't understand why the other kids won't come to your birthday party. Your mother sent invitations to everyone in your class. 23 kids. She ordered a cake shaped like a soccer ball. She hired a clown. She filled the backyard with balloons and rented a bouncy castle that took 4 men to inflate. Nobody came. You sat at the head of an empty table for 2 hours, watching the ice cream melt, waiting for a doorbell that never rang. The clown tried to make balloon animals to cheer you up. He made a dog, a giraffe, and something that was either a snake or a really sad elephant. You didn't have the heart to tell him it didn't matter. He was the only guest at your party, and you were paying him to be there. Your mother made excuses. Maybe the invitations got lost. Maybe there's traffic. Maybe next year. You're 7, but you're not stupid. You've seen the way other parents look at your father when he picks you up from school. You've noticed how teachers change the subject when you mention your last name. You've heard whispers you weren't supposed to hear. Your father is a powerful man. That's what your mother says. He helps people. He provides jobs. He takes care of the community. Your father is also the reason you eat birthday cake alone. By 10, you've accepted certain facts about your life. You don't walk to school like other kids. A black SUV takes you, and 2 men with earpieces walk you to the door. Other kids get dropped off by their moms in minivans. You arrive like a tiny president visiting a foreign country. You don't have sleepovers. Too dangerous. You don't go to friends' houses. What friends? The kids who talk to you want something: money, protection, bragging rights. The kids who don't want anything stay far away. Your house has 12 bedrooms, a pool, a movie theater, a gym. You'd trade all of it for one real friend who doesn't flinch when your father walks into the room. You have every video game console ever made and nobody to play with. The irony isn't lost on you, even at 10. You learn to entertain yourself. Video games, mostly. Online, nobody knows who you are. You can be anyone. You pick usernames like SoccerKid2007 or TacoMaster99. Nothing suspicious, nothing traceable. You play for hours, talking to strangers who treat you like a normal kid because they think you are one. For the first time in your life, you're just another 12-year-old getting destroyed in Call of Duty by someone's grandmother in Ohio. One night, your father finds you wearing a headset, laughing at something a teammate said. He watches for a moment. Then he unplugs the console. You're too old for games. Tomorrow, you start learning the business. You want to point out that you just reached level 47, and this is extremely unfair. You don't. You're 12. Your childhood just ended with a yanked power cord. The lessons begin, not accounting or management. Loyalty, silence, reading people. Your father takes you to meetings where men twice your age defer to him with nervous smiles. He shows you properties, warehouses, farms in the mountains where nothing legal grows. He never explains what he does. He doesn't have to. You've seen enough news, heard enough rumors, connected enough dots. Your father moves product. Your father moves money. Your father moves people who ask too many questions into shallow graves. You don't say this out loud. You don't say anything. You just watch and nod and hate every second of an inheritance you never asked for. At 14, you discover girls. Or rather, one girl, Sophia. She transfers to your school from Guadalajara. She doesn't know your family. She doesn't know anything. She just thinks you're the quiet kid with nice clothes who sits alone at lunch. She sits with you one day, then the next, then every day for 3 months. For 3 months, you feel normal. You feel human. You feel like maybe there's a version of your life where you're just a kid who likes a girl and worries about homework and plans a future that doesn't involve bodyguards and blood. Then she finds out. Someone tells her. A jealous classmate, a gossiping teacher, it doesn't matter. She stops sitting with you. She stops looking at you. When you approach her after class, she walks the other way, fast, like you're contagious. You see fear in her eyes. Not dislike. Fear. You go home and lock yourself in your room for 3 days. Your mother brings food you don't eat. Your father doesn't come at all. You learn a lesson that day. Love is a luxury you can't afford. Everyone who gets close to you gets burned. The kindest thing you can do is stay away. At 16, you're sent to a boarding school in Switzerland. Officially, it's for education. Unofficially, it's because a war is starting and your father wants you out of the crossfire. The students are children of diplomats, oil barons, tech billionaires. For the first time, your money doesn't make you special. Everyone here has money, but nobody has your name. The Latin American kids know immediately. They whisper when you enter a room. They're polite to your face and terrified behind your back. The European kids don't know and you don't tell them. For 2 years, you pretend to be the son of an agricultural exporter. Avocados, you say. Limes. It's almost true. If you ignore everything else, you make friends. Real ones, you think. Henrik from Norway, Yuki from Japan, David from California. You ski together, study together, sneak alcohol into the dorms together. You feel almost normal. Henrik teaches you to snowboard. Yuki helps you with calculus. David introduces you to American music that your father would definitely not approve of. Then David Googles your father's name. You should have known. Never trust a Californian with Wi-Fi access. He finds news articles, photographs, accusations. He shows the others. They don't confront you. They just stop inviting you to things. Group chats go quiet when you enter. Henrik sends you a message. Sorry, man, it's just, we can't be associated with that. You finish the semester alone. Again, at 18, you return to Mexico. Your father's war's over. He won, or at least he survived, which is the same thing. Bodies were buried. Enemies were absorbed or eliminated. The empire is bigger now. He sits you down in his office, the same office where you watched him take meetings as a child. He looks older, tired, a scar on his neck that wasn't there before. I built this for you, he says. All of it. You're my son. My legacy. Everything I have becomes yours. You want to scream. You want to tell him you never asked for this. You want to explain that his legacy is a curse, that his name is a prison, that every good thing in your life has been destroyed by what he does. Instead, you nod. What else can you do? You're sent to university, business administration, a private campus where the dean knows not to ask questions. You study supply chains and logistics, skills that will serve you well in the family trade. You try one more time to build a normal life. You meet a woman, Maria. She's smart, driven, ambitious. She wants to open her own restaurant. You talk for hours about her dreams, her plans, her future. You don't tell her about yours. For 8 months, you're happy. You help her with business plans. You invest in her restaurant with money you pretend comes from your grandfather's estate. You imagine a life where you're just an investor, a silent partner, a normal man with a normal girlfriend and a normal future. Then your father gets arrested. It's everywhere. International news. His face on every screen. Your face too in old photographs they dig up from somewhere. The sun, the air, the next generation. Maria sees the news. She doesn't call. She doesn't text. She just disappears. The restaurant closes. Your investment vanishes. You never hear from her again. You visit your father in prison. Maximum security. They search you 3 times before letting you in. A guard pats you down like you're smuggling a helicopter in your jacket. He looks smaller behind the glass, but his voice is the same. I need you to take over while I'm gone. I can't. I don't know how. You'll learn. You have to. There's no one else. You want to tell him no. You want to walk away, change your name, move to a country where nobody knows the word cartel. But you know what happens to sons who abandon the family. You've seen it happen to others. Loyalty isn't optional. It's survival. You take over. Not because you want to, because there's no other choice. The first months are chaos. People test you. A shipment disappears. A payment comes up short. A plaza boss starts making deals without permission. One guy actually laughed when you gave him an order. Laughed, like you told a joke. You handle it with the only weapons you have, your father's name and the fear it still carries. You make calls. You remind people who you are. You let them imagine what happens if they cross the son the same way they'd never cross the father. It works. The shipment reappears. The payment arrives with interest. The guy who laughed sends a very sincere letter. You didn't even know he could write. You're learning. You hate that you're learning. You're 24 years old, and you command an organization that spans 3 countries. You have more money than you could spend in 10 lifetimes. You have power that politicians envy and police fear. You also have no friends, no girlfriend, no future that doesn't end in prison or a cemetery. You can't travel freely. You can't post on social media. You sleep in a different location every week because staying still too long means dying. Your father calls from prison sometimes. He gives advice. He asks about operations. He tells you he's proud. You hang up and stare at the wall. This is your inheritance. Not money, not power, not respect. Isolation, paranoia, a lifetime of looking over your shoulder. You were born into a kingdom you never wanted, crowned with a name you can never escape. Sometimes, late at night, you think about that birthday party, the empty chairs, the melting ice cream. You realize now that was the happiest you'd ever be. At least back then, you still had hope. You're 24 years old and you know exactly how your life ends. The only question is when. Your phone rings. Another problem. Another decision. Another day of being exactly what your father made you. You answer it. You always answer it. Because you're the son. And the son doesn't get to choose. If you stayed until the end, share your opinion in the comments. Your feedback helps us get better every time. Leave a like, subscribe for more content like this, and watch the next video on your screen. Big hug!